Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, is continuing to carry out his reshuffle following the resignation of several shadow cabinet ministers and a rebellion by Labour MPs over the Brexit bill. One of the big tests of his leadership will be the by-elections on the 23rd of February in the Labour-held seats of Stoke-on-Trent Central and Copeland. Our deputy political editor, John Pienaar, has been talking to voters in both constituencies.
This is BBC Radio Stoke.
Why is Labour up against it? You only have to ask.
John Pienaar's in Hanley, and he wants to know how people feel about the by-election in Stoke-on-Trent Central.
Is Stoke going to stay a Labour city?
Hopefully not.
Why do you say that?
I think for far too long we've been taken for granted by Labour.
I'd like to think it was going to stay Labour. They sort of work for everybody, don't they? Whereas, I don't know, I think the guys that are potentially going to get in are quite bigoted in a couple of the views.
Hi, Phil.
By all accounts, the Labour candidate is a pro-European. So how does that square with such a, 70% plus anti-European vote for Stoke Central?
You've been Labour, you're switching. That's what you're saying.
Most probably switch this year, yes.
Well, we're still agonising a bit about it.
We're still agonising.
This is a really big deal in national politics, isn't it? Why?
Is Labour's traditional support in industrial towns like this one in Stoke, away from London and the big cities, is it deserting? Well, look, most people here voted to leave the European Union. Most of the MPs here, the Labour MPs here, voted and campaigned to stay in the European Union. And Jeremy Corbyn, look, he's popular with his party members. When it comes to the wider public, not so much. A senior Labour MP has said that Labour here is hanging on by its fingernails against the challenge of the UK Independence Party. Messages, thousands, came in on our BBC Facebook Live page. Jeremy Corbyn was a big election issue for Labour. Full of honesty, respect and integrity, said Stephen. Corbynites are enthusiastic, but he costs votes. And plenty more of the same. Labour has reason to worry. Every voter's a prize just now. Labour's under siege in 2 by-elections on the same night. Voters who never wanted Brexit are being targeted by the Liberal Democrats and the Greens. Will UKIP's campaigners see their leader become Stoke's new MP? That'd strike fear into Labour's Brexit-supporting heartlands.
So we're on Acorn Bank.
Tory campaigners are daring to dream of an historic triumph. They ran UKIP close in Stoke, but in Copeland they feel they can beat Labour, the first government gain over its main opponents in a by-election in 35 years. So Labour's fighting door to door, street to street here in Stoke, and far to the north, where Labour's facing a hard slog to survive in a very different setting. In Copeland's coastal town of Whitehaven, Sellafield employs thousands. Ask almost anyone. Jeremy Corbyn's past opposition to nuclear power counts against his party, though voting Labour here is an old habit.
Well, I'm going to stay with Labour because I just think it's for the working people, and all my family's always done Labour.
Because of the workforce at Sellafield and what it creates in the wider community, and what Mr Corbyn said about nuclear power, they've got to think of themselves, and for the long-term future of Sellafield, it possibly will go Conservative.
Holding this seat looks tough. Losing here or in Stoke means talk of existential crisis for Labour, rejected by once loyal voters who now feel left out and left behind. John Pienaar, BBC News, Whitehaven.
I've been getting away with it all.